All right, all right, all right, all right. We're
We're
back. We're
back.
back. And thank the Lord for persistence and getting the job done. Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church, home of the Compton Cathedral Worship Center. Guess what, y'all? I got our bishop on with us.
I'm on.
It took some doing, but we made it through. And so we just gonna look and Bishop, um, uh, we're gonna wait to see if some people can join us. I know we're a
Okay.
little bit over time because I was hoping around 8:30
I know.
and 8:35, and it's 8:53.
I know.
I hope they didn't give up on us.
Me either.
you
They
know.
probably think it's my fault. You know. They
Well,
probably
hey,
think.
hey, Latanya is with us. Hey, Tanya,
All right.
Tanya
Hey.
first. All right, let's share. Let's invite. Let's see. A Pope just sent out a message. Say, okay, they're on again. Yeah, we on again. It's about to happen. And we're not gonna take all of your night. Maybe 15 minutes or so of your night, if you don't mind. If you, I don't know how much time do you have, Bishop?
Hey. I'm. I'm. I got all night. I'll just
All
put it
right,
that way.
all right.
You know.
Well,
Hey. I'm here. I'm still. I'm still quarantined. I'm self quarantined. Okay. So I'm here,
all
man.
right. I was just thinking while we are waiting for others to come on. Um, I saw your post tonight
Hmm.
about George Floyd memorial service,
Uh huh.
and Al Sharpton did a good job,
Absolutely.
and, and I have my hat on today. One brotherhood, indivisible, and uh, I just think that this is a time for all of us to sit back and kind of think where our priorities are as it relates to the brotherhood and African American people of color. Well, let me just be real frank: African American people.
Hmm.
Amen.
Hmm.
And we have to stick together.
Yeah.
The brotherhood has to stick together,
Oh yeah.
and we can set that example to the people. And I think we're doing that, especially in times like these.
Doing a great job. A storm. Um, people, we talk about storms and we preach about storms, and people love to hear us talk about storms. But they need to understand that a storm does two things.
Come on.
It blows things out, and it can blow things in.
Yeah.
And so this storm blew some things in that we, as an African American nation, people, we need it. I think it's become very clear, and it's become clearer to the generation that did not come through what I came through. Uh, you have a couple of generations that want to know what all the hoopla was about. What is all the marching and the boycotting and protesting? What's that all about? Because they never dealt with any of that. Well, I came up right smack dab in the middle of it. And it took a few things like this to bring Martin Luther King out of the pulpit into that basement, to that first organizing meeting for the boycott, bus boycott. And so every so often, as Al said, Reverend Al, um, every so often a storm blows in uh, that makes us have to get up and do better. And if you check the record, with every storm that blows in, it also brings generations together. If you watch that movie, Keep Your Eyes on the Prize, I have a cousin that was sitting at that Woolworth counter where they were spraying or squirting mustard on them and all of that. I have a cousin from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, who was sitting there. Well, she was a teenager at the time. So when these kind of storms come, it doesn't matter what generation you come from, it brings us all together.
Yeah, 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 and his ways are not our ways,
That's right.
and his thoughts are not our thoughts.
Right.
And so, I'm just of the opinion that even in times like these, God is up to something.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You
And,
know?
and 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 my mother told me a long time ago, and I've been preaching it. God will work out the details.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
You've been preaching that a long time, son.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're rolling. Some people are saying they can't hear us. I don't know why. We can hear each other. Some can't hear. Um, and so thank you for those words. Um, and hello to everyone: Elaine, Dwayne, Williams, Elaine Bonner, Sister Myrtle Rando, Auntie. Hello there. Sister Tanya. My uncle is on all the way in Georgia. Johnny Gates. Lauren is on,
The
and
Johnny Gates? Is it?
not that Johnny Gates.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But my mother's baby brother uh, is on.
Okay.
So, what I want to do is, Bishop, I want to just have a little recap with you, and thank
Okay.
you for spending this time with us.
Not a problem.
My phone was ringing because people are watching Power Pit Stop on Thursdays,
Yeah. It's a
and
blessing.
they saw the trailer,
Yeah.
Throwback, and they was trying to figure out what was going on. And when you played that video, my phone started ringing. Man, who came up with this idea? What? Oh my God, this is wow. Back to back to back, at least four phone calls, and I'm talking about preachers right here in this city
Right.
who,
Wow.
for lack of better terms, are R.D. Sanders fans. And way back in, what was that? Was that 91?
92. September
92.
22nd. Yeah.
Yeah.
September 22nd. Yeah.
That's when I first started coming around. I was 12th grade. And so I remember that R.D. Sanders, and I appreciated that R.D. Sanders then. And certainly we appreciate what God is doing through you now.
Bless you.
And so I couldn't even take credit. I like to take credit, but I couldn't take credit. I told him, man, that's all Bishop. He said, I'm going to do this. And it was a fresh word. Watch this. It's a fresh word even for this day. I mean,
Wow.
have you lost your cutting edge? I mean, are you just busy making
Beating wood.
noise?
Just beating
Yeah.
wood.
I mean, you out there protesting, you putting up posts on Facebook and social media, but what are you just making noise? Are you really doing something?
Right.
And,
Right.
and, and I said, and I'm gonna play this clip, but I said the other day, I said, half of the people that is talking about blackout and this, that, and the other, that they'll be using their stimulus check to buy clothes and outfits and fireworks for the 4th of July and still not free. but you blacking out, but you're gonna celebrate and spend your money on something that obviously didn't free you. But
Yeah.
that's beside the point. I'm
Yeah.
not a
Come on back.
politician and
Come on.
I'm not a
Come on.
protester.
Come on. Come
Uh,
on back.
but the preacher of the gospel job is to inform the people. All right, so I'm gonna play this clip. I'm gonna play this clip, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Oh, give me 1 second. To get down on your knees and say, Father, 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 I stretch my hand to thee. Oh, Lord, if I know, if thou, you know thou, Lord, if thou withdraw thyself from me, oh, whether shall I go? Do I hear a witness here? witness. He'll give it back to you. I'm a witness. It's better the second time around. I'm a witness. He'll do just what he said. I'm a witness that the man is able. Yes, 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 yes. Tell somebody he gave it back to me, and I'm gonna take it out. He gave it back. 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 I'm gonna take it out. He gave it back here. I said he gave it back here. All right. I had to stop it before I got happy.
Well, okay. I ain't trying to bust you out or nothing like that. But before you ask me a question about it, I need you to know I didn't see it. I got
You
blacked
did,
out. I wasn't able to see the clip. So
oh,
you
you
have
didn't
to
see the
tell
clip at
me
all?
what the clip was about.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would not have said anything. It's just that, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But what was it?
We played that clip on the close of the message. You know, I do enjoy that gravy.
Really? So, okay.
Uh,
Maybe that's why I
and
blacked
you
out.
start talking about Father, I stretch.
Really? Really?
Well, what I was looking at in a time like this,
Okay.
no other help I know.
Okay. Yeah.
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 So that's where we were. That's where we were.
Okay.
But I wanted to, and we had a similar thought. Uh, I wanted to talk to you about Second Kings chapter 6,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, uh, the first thing that caught me was that work needed to be done, and they were willing to do the work, but they had ran out of room.
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they they had run out of room, and because they run out of room, they didn't use that as a hindrance.
Right.
They decided we're
Yeah.
gonna do.
That's a
Yeah,
blessing. It was a
yeah,
blessing. It was a wonderful difficulty.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they decided, well, since we busting out, we might as well bust out.
Right. Right.
And so they were going to make more room. And I just caught out of that when we run out of room or we have obstacles, many of us allow those obstacles to stop us, slow us down,
And it should
to
stir us. It should
but it
stir us.
should but it should stir us up. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's what happened with these guys. It's like it's a wonderful difficulty. We're busting out, and I respect these guys because, and I'm hoping that I, if I had redone it, or if I had done my 2020 version, which I might do a recap or remix next week, because certainly after 28 years, the Lord has spoken some other things to me. But looking at the whole picture, I just have so much respect for these guys because no matter what revelation they got, um, no matter what decisions they made, even though it was a good idea, they never moved. Number one, without God, and they never moved without God's man.
yeah,
And I, it's just phenomenal, and I'm just wondering what kind of earthly uh, kingdom, God's kingdom on earth, what it would be like if uh, His kingdom citizens had the same respect for the man of God that He had put in charge for this dispensation.
Yeah, yeah.
We could get a lot of stuff built.
I think that's the main difference from civil rights movement and time and now.
Hmm.
All protests, all marches, all activities started with the preacher and at the church
Right.
and with prayer.
Oh
But
yeah.
now these guys are meet in the basketball gym and go out there and get the rolling, and God is not in it half of the time.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's exactly what this message is talking about: making a lot of noise, but not cutting anything.
Hmm. Well, I think this situation, well, this uh, conglomerate of conditions and situations has pushed us to Jordan, man. It's pushed us to every man got to get a beam. You know,
Yeah.
you have the pandemic, and then you have the killing, and then there was an earthquake last night, and you know, and God, I say he's doing like sanctified spacing
I love that.
with these various unique events, this cluster of consecrated happenings, man, and we can see, uh, and he's not making us wait a long time uh, to at least get a glimpse of his glory and what his divine intentions are. And so, as I watched the memorial today, man, I was just overjoyed, and I'm dealing with this pain with the spasms and stuff, but I stood for the 8 minutes and 46 seconds, uh, and I'm not really disturbed about a lot of this that's happening on its face because I know that God is doing something. I'm just glad He's not doing it without me.
Hallelujah. That's right. That's right. Um, I I want to kind of and just in the next few moments,
Hmm.
kind of go through uh, that text verses 1 through 7
Hmm.
um, of Kings,
Hmm.
and and I want to remind those who are watching, if you, I can see your questions. If you have a question, you can type it in, and and if you hear something that sounds good, you can type, and we'll
Yeah,
be able to.
don't touch nobody yet. I
Don't
don't
touch
care.
nobody yet.
I
But
don't
type,
care
type,
how
type.
they're loosening the regulations and things. Don't touch yet.
Yeah. And so, and so if you have a question about this or you want to chime in on something, you can type that in. I can see it. I'll ask that question to Bishop, and maybe if we can get to it, we'll try to get to it. Bishop, I think the first thing that I want to, when we get into this text, um, I think what was significant in regaining the cutting edge was that the first thing he had to do was admit that he lost it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, man. And I'm impressed with dude. I really am because it's not like it took him a real long time after he discovered uh, that he had lost it. He went right to work uh, in getting it back, and the first thing he did was he said, "Hey, man of God, I lost it. I did it. I did it. I did it." Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, and I thought that was incredible, because we'll have guys, and the old preacher that baptized me used to say, God will fire you and keep you on the job.
Yes.
and
Yes.
and guys, man, will be, you know working, you know
And
uh
don't know they're fired.
wow, Is
I'm going to play
what
fire.
Corinthians talk about, sounding brass and tinkling cymbals.
Yeah, yeah, and there are a lot of times when and I hope, because this message and what I wanted to do in 2020. Um, After I watched it, I thought, well, maybe they'll get it, but um, I really wanted this to be for all of the workers in kingdom, from preachers all the way down, where everybody understands that we're all prone to wake up one day and we're not what we used to be. We wake up one day and we can't do what we used to do. We don't have the power and influence we used to. And I just wanted everybody to like take a deep breath during this time, because we have the time to do it, and find out, okay, like there's a reason why I'm doing all of this work. There's a reason why my, if you do good bookkeeping, there's a reason why my record says that I'm diligent, but I'm not moving anything, and nothing's happening for me. And I really wanted everybody to kind of stop and take inventory, as I did 28 years ago. I've always been transparent. I'm more transparent now at 63 than I was back then. But as I said, I took a few minutes to say, hey, I'm struggling with keeping my edge, because, I had a lot of stuff going. I was doing a little chopping myself, with everything I had going. And like I said, I was praying every day, God, keep me humble. God, keep my feet on the ground. God, I don't want to just be beating wood. I don't want to just be beating wood. And so I wanted to be proactive. And so that passage spoke to me before I spoke to the people. And I hope tonight that it was able to reach everybody from the pulpit to the pew. Um, and that's and Nene is the one. Nene and a few others. They're the ones who requested that message at this time. BJ and others requested the 23rd Psalm, and Nene Lenitra Curtis requested this one.
Yeah, it's amazing that in that text, the work the work that was being done was because they loved the work.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when we look back in the 90s, uh, and it's amazing now at 46, I go back in the 90s.
yeah, yeah.
but 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 um, it's amazing that the work was out of love. But now, and I hear people saying I lost my edge. Have you lost your cutting edge because you're working out of lust?
Yeah. Lust for stuff,
Yeah, for
recognition,
fame, for
recognition,
fortune, for
yeah,
recognition,
reimbursement.
reimbursement, for money matters. Yeah, what are you working for?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and uh, lust for things
Hmm.
um, will cause your cutting edge. Your it will make your tools dull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things and I'll probably, if I go back to it, and I believe in giving credit where credit is due, because, and I don't mean any harm, but I'm human. I've been robbed, so much in these 51, 52 years of preaching. I mean, people just steal your stuff, and and wear your word stuff in your face, and never said, or will never say, thank you, Doc Sanders, for giving me this. But I'm going to give credit where it's due. Dr. Tellis Chapman said something when he was dealing with this text a couple of years ago, and he was saying that, We got to, not be so hard on the guy because he was dealing with faulty equipment.
Mm,
It was faulty
mm,
equipment,
mm.
faulty equipment. And so I kind of took that and extended and expanded it in my 2020 version. Uh,
Wait,
but
wait,
yeah,
wait. Faulty equipment.
yeah, it's faulty equipment. He said
Yeah.
he was trying to build a monument with faulty equipment.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
but that's interesting because you can really go somewhere with that. I'm talking
Oh, I
about when you're
went.
talking
Oh,
about
oh,
faulty
I went.
equipment.
Oh, I went.
Ooh. I mean, but it goes back to why you're doing it.
Yeah,
Why? Okay, so he admitted that he lost it, and I think the other thing that I thought was critical was that he was able to admit where he lost it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I was right there.
yeah,
And I think you talked about the Jordan, how the Jordan was dirty and filthy and nasty and
yeah,
dark and muddy.
yeah.
And when
Yeah,
you're in
you
a
got to go
dirty,
back to the
filthy,
scene of
nasty
the crime.
place, you can lose your cutting edge.
You have to go back to the scene of the crime. People don't
Come
want to do that.
on.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. It's it, I did another version of this, maybe 10, 15 years ago, and I kind of dealt with that particular point. And the title of the sermon was, "It's right where you left it."
Wow.
If you're looking for it, if you want to
Yeah.
find out what, uh, it's right where you
Right
left
where
it.
you left it. Wow.
Right where you left it. Right. You
Wow.
have to go back, you know, to where you
You
were
know,
doing it.
I was thinking about, I think it's Luke 15, when the woman, well, you got a lost sheep, a
Yeah.
lost piece of silver, and a
Yeah.
lost son.
Right.
And I was thinking about that. She lost that piece of silver
In the house.
in the house.
Yeah.
But how did she find it? She had to get a broom and start sweeping up some things, clean
Right.
up some things. And
Yeah.
so that's a lesson to us that when you're in a dark and nasty, I think you called it dirty and filthy place, yeah, clean up some
Yeah.
things.
I was quite explicit in those days.
Yeah, but the onus is on us
Yeah.
to get our broom,
Yeah.
get our mop,
Yeah.
get some disinfectant, you know, and even and I think that's why again God is speaking through to us through this pandemic to tell us keep some bleach around, keep some Lysol or some wipe, keep things clean,
Yeah.
wash your hands,
Oh yeah.
keep
Yeah.
keep to yourself.
Yeah. And in that, um, I'm sure. And as I say on Thursdays, don't touch nobody, but type, 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 type.
Yeah,
Sure, there's somebody out there that these last several weeks you have found your cutting edge.
my
You had no choice.
my
It's
God.
just been you and God. You had to be at home, and so you've come to a place where um, you're just beating wood, and your faulty equipment is just screaming at you. I mean, it's very apparent that before this pandemic, something was not right, and you
Hmm.
were not who you used to be. But I know there's somebody out there who's saying right now, "Oh, I got it back, and I'm taking it up,
How
and
about
I
that?
came through this pandemic." Yeah,
Well, that's
and
to
so
God be the glory.
I think, uh, people say, "I can't wait to get back to church." I don't know if I want to go back to church. I want to go to church, but I don't want to go back
Yeah,
to church.
how about that? I like that.
You
We-
know,
we-
yeah, because I just
I want to go
believe,
forward to church.
yeah, 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 because I believe, and just dealing with my members, I'm watching and seeing the change in attitude and altitude in my members. And so I can't wait just to go to church to see um, all of the reattached and sharpened blades,
Yeah.
all the
Um.
cutting edges that are back. Yeah.
Yeah. So he admitted that he lost it. He admitted um where he lost it,
Mm-hmm.
and in that we got to be thinking about that. The truth is, and I heard you say this, that the it really doesn't belong to us.
That's
And
right.
and and I don't know if it was you, if you said it just now, or you said it earlier when we were talking. Uh, the truth is, it's borrowed.
It is.
You said every now and then God speaks to me, and I have to acquiesce to God speaking.
Yeah.
And so that suggests to me that we have to uh, understand that it's not of our own wit, our own knowledge. It's God speaking,
Yeah.
and so it's all borrowed.
It's
It's from Him.
borrowed. It's borrowed.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I say it, well, maybe every other time I'm on the prayer line. I remind the members that, I have an obligation to hear God
yeah,
and follow God. And as you repeat, follow the light. And so I'm not going to be moved by any other movement or any other motions of others. I'm going to follow Him because I know this whole thing belongs to Him, and it's borrowed. It's not mine. That even that building out there, and I'm glad that my folk are not going crazy over a building, but even that building is borrowed. Just the whole kingdom concept is about, kingdom. The whole concept, the word simply means understanding God's universal control over His universe. And so, if He is in control of the universe, it means anything that we obtain or acquire, even in and for His service, is borrowed.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
borrowed,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
you're making me get into my 2020 version. I don't want to do that right now.
Well, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
We probably have about 5 more minutes. So I think one more thing I just wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Um, we lost it, and we admitted that we lost it, and we know where we lost it. It's borrowed, and then we have to, um, since it's borrowed, we have to admit that we can have it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can have
Yeah.
it back, and I think that's what I saw there at the end. The good news of it, we can have it back, and we can have it back in our life.
Yeah.
Um, that cutting edge,
Right.
that what we were trying to represent on Sunday, that downpouring of the Holy Ghost.
Right.
Um, and somebody asked me, what song would you have chosen? And the only thing that came to me was that song that we used to sing. It was early one morning, just about the break of day. When Jesus, he touched me and he washed my sins away, I started running. I started
Start
shouting and had
shouting.
no room for doubting. It's something
Oh,
called the
wow.
Holy Ghost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
It's the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
Um, and when we are moving in self, and I think I described it earlier, uh, as lust instead of love, it's hard to when we're moving in self, it's hard to have the spirit in at the same time.
But I'm looking forward. Maybe I'm fooling myself, but faith can make a fool out of you.
Come on,
That's
come
another.
on.
That's another.
I like it. I
The
like it.
foolishness of faith. But I'm really looking forward to a change
Yeah.
uh, for the better. And and I don't have a lot of time for negative people
Come on.
when there is a change. Like there's every church goes through this period where there's like this sweep of positivity and love and togetherness, and things are just happening, and uh, there's a rush of revenue, and bills are being paid, and people, I mean, things are rolling. And I just don't have time for people. And I've said some unkind things to people like this who say, well, let's just see how long it's going to last. Let's see how long
My
it's going
God.
to last. I, it doesn't matter to me, because however long it lasts, it's better than what it was before. So I will take 5 minutes of spiritual bliss
Come on.
in among God's people and thank God for it, in the face of maybe 5 months or 5 years of confusion. If we can get 5 minutes, I'm going to book that. I'm going to bank that, and thank God for it. So I'm looking forward. I don't know how long the change is going to last. I'm hoping that it'll be a long lasting change, but I do expect uh, a change from starting at the top, starting with us as pastors and preachers and associates. And I think it's going to have a triumphant trickle down effect on the
Yeah.
people. And I'm praying that it will last for a long time. But I want to share this, and then I'm going to be done. And I want to, and this is for you, uh, and other preachers and pastors who may be listening. I mentioned that I heard uh, Dr. Tellis Chapman do this text. And C. Dennis Edwards and I, uh, ex-chairman, used to be chairman of our board, we were listening to him. And here's what Dr. Chapman said. He was talking about the wood uh, that the prophet threw out, Elisha threw out the wood. And he immediately went into, he said, I know another piece of wood. Uh, and he went into the Calvary thing. There was another piece of wood,
Yes, sir.
and how tall the wood was and how wide it was, and there was another piece of wood and Save Me One Friday. And I was losing my mind, and I was saying to C.D. Edwards, man, did you hear that? I had forgotten that 26 years ago, God had given me the same revelation.
Wow.
If you remember tonight, I talked about the whole thing being about Calvary,
Yeah.
about the wood, about Jesus swimming out to get us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I apologized to the Lord, for, fawning over something he had already given me. And I had just forgotten that he had already given it to me. So preachers, keep up with your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep up with your stuff. So I'm good. You want to tell people if they were blessed, how they can bless the church and how they can just be a blessing.
So, I mean, I enjoyed this, Bishop. I appreciate your time spending with us. We just need to get on and just say a few more words and connect with the people. And so, God bless you. Um, Mount Pilgrim family, we want to make sure, and those of you who are watching, we want to make sure that we continue to sow seed into the ministry. I'm getting my phone out now because Bishop wasn't able to say our pit stop. Where we at the church, we sow our seed. I'm sowing mine right now. Um, I just gotta. There it is. Mount Pilgrim Baptist. I'm going Cash App. Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church. $ Mount Pilgrim CPT. I'm doing mine right now. Join me. There it is. Oh,
Bless
you
you.
can't see it, but there it is. I just did mine now. Sow your seed, 10, 20, $30, whatever the Lord lays on your heart,
Right.
to be a blessing as a seed ministry for our Thursday night pit stop. Givelify is Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church. And I want to say to us, not only should we continue to sow our seed and give, but be reminded that we don't have to be pumped up and pushed to give. We give because we know it's right. We give because God has been good to us. And we know that God wants to use us, not only in our time, not only with our talent, but He wants to use us with our treasure as well. And so all good gifts come from above. And because God has blessed us, I don't give because I want to be saved. I give because I'm saved already. Amen.
That's right.
And so God bless you. Make sure we get those avenues. I do want to remind us, Mount Pilgrim, that we will be at the church on Saturday at 12 noon from 12 to 1. And we will be praying with members that come by and receiving your gifts as well. 400 South Santa Fe. And then next Friday, not tomorrow, but next Friday, June 12th, we will be in conjunction with the City of Compton, Compton City Council, feeding, giving out food for our grab and go grocery giveaway. It's not just a plate, it's not just a meal. We are giving away groceries that will be a blessing to you and your family. So God bless you. Thank you so much. Bishop, thank you so much. Do you want
Now,
to say anything else too before we leave?
I need to say one more thing as it relates to giving, and I must do this. Thank you, as Pastor said. Thank you all for being so faithful to your church. Uh, in addition to that, thank you for being faithful to your leader. You're being so wonderful, and not just Mount Pilgrim. I have to tell the true truth. Those who are not even members of our church, thank you for blessing me. And because people don't have to be nice, and if they are, they don't have to be nice to you. So I just want to thank you for what you've done. It has been unbelievable for how you're supporting your church and your leader. So just want to say thanks.
And I'm putting in the comments section now that information, uh, Cash App information, $Mount Pilgrim CPT, Givelify information, Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church. And then certainly we want to be a blessing to our bishop. Uh, his Cash App is $Richard D. Sanders. And so thank you so much. We love you and we praise God for you. And Bishop, keep following the light, and we'll
Have
keep
no choice,
following
man.
you as you follow the light.
All right, bud.
Uh, all right, I'm going to type this last few things in, and then we're gone.
All right.
Uh, 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 all right. God bless you,
Okay.
sir.
Bless you. If every soul would save a soul, then every soul would be saved. Who loves you? God and me.
Oh, I spelled your name wrong on here. Let
I'll
me
get
fix
that
it.
right.
I got to
Fix
fix
it.
it.
Like Jesus. Fix it. All right. Thank you.
All right, Bishop. Be blessed.
You do the same.